Welcome, everybody. We're for another edition of Eat and Drink Real Estate. Today we have the pleasure of introducing Debbie Reyna, who's actually the sister of one of our closers here, and she is fairly new to doing real estate in Illinois as a realtor. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my experience in the real estate side started when I was 19 years old. I moved to Las Vegas, and so I worked for 6-7 years out there as an escrow secretary and went up to escrow officer. And the interesting thing, and what was very good for my experience out in Vegas, is that they don't have attorneys there. So everything was put on the title company. We cleared title. We created deeds, notes, mortgages. We did it all. So it was great experience for me because I had to do all of that process and worked with the realtors and everything. So when I moved back to Illinois, because this is where I'm from, that was just a temporary move there.
But you got your feet wet there.
I did.
Which was kind of nice.
And it was good. It was good for me, I think. I think it was a great experience because I am one of those people, I think that everybody should kind of do a little bit of everything so you always understand what the other person needs. It makes
a lot of deals in Las Vegas too.
Yes, there was a lot. And it was a different market. More cash than loans because a lot of those people worked for a lot of cash. So just a different animal. And I came back and I worked for a lawyer's title, actually, when I came back to Illinois. Worked there for a few years. And then I had an opportunity to move to Temple Inland Mortgage, which was a wholesale lender. So the wholesale lender is the person that a mortgage broker would generate the loan, and then we underwrite it and fund it and close it. And so I did that, and I worked in sales there. I was an underwriter there. So the underwriting portion gave me a lot of experience with how to qualify people, what's required, and seeing how that process works. And then I decided that nobody did things like I wanted them to do it.
That's right.
So I started my own title company.
That's the reason why we started too, by the way.
Yep. And yeah, and it's great. And you guys, I think we were very similar.
Right.
You guys stuck it out, and I had it.
Enough.
So, but yeah, I had that for 10 years. And you guys are very service oriented, and that was my thing. Is I was never going to be the big guy. I was never going to be First American, Chicago, all of that.
Right.
I was going to give good service to my clients for a fair price, and so that's what I did. So I did that for 10 years, and then my husband decided to retire in 2015. We moved to Florida for a little bit, and then I have a grandchild, so we decided to move back to Illinois again.
Right.
And that's when I decided to get my real estate license because I just have a passion for this industry, and I have all of that other knowledge, and I really just feel like it will be very beneficial.
And now you had your real estate license in Florida as well.
I did not.
No?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. No license in Florida. Just retired.
Kind of got into it with a partner doing a YouTube channel.
Yep.
And at the Villages, so you're very familiar with the needs of those folks that have decided to go into a retirement type of a community, which, I wouldn't say the Villages, but that's what it is. But it's, because I kind of want to move to the Villages when I go to Florida, but I don't know. But it's really nice, but the needs of those folks.
Yes.
So.
It's a huge retirement community, and that is, I was going to say, it is something that requires additional knowledge because it is 55 and up, so there are some rules that go along with that. There are some amenities, lots of amenities usually, and we have Del Webb here, Sun City and Huntley. There's Carillon out in Pingree Grove, that's a retirement community, and they're starting. The biggest thing was Illinois never had any, and now they're starting to pop up. I think they're starting to realize we do have families we don't want to leave, but we don't want our 3,000 square foot 2-story houses anymore.
Right. So you're going to specialize in those areas up here. That's what
I enjoy working with. I actually love people, so I just enjoy working with everybody. And like I said, real estate's my passion, and so I do love working with the retirement community. But I also I've got my kids. They're friends and I love finding the new homes for them. It's everybody's got a different need and niche basically.
And how much does all that knowledge help you in the real estate area as a broker?
A lot, because I've ended up being able to, even before I had my license, like my own daughter was looking for a home, and I was able to help her. She didn't have a whole lot of money, and so we were trying to work the numbers, and so we were watching our tax numbers and things like that, because you go from home to home. That can make a difference in qualifying and not qualifying. And a lot of realtors don't know that. They're just going to show you every home that is at this price point, whatever.
Right.
Sometimes homeowners associations will kick you out. So just that enough would be. So it's very helpful to have a well-rounded, knowledgeable person on your side.
And so, that brings up another question. So why should I use a realtor?
Okay,
I mean,
so
there's a lot of information on the internet. I can go to Zillow, and I'm just not used to saying. I mean, yeah. I deal with a lot of real estate agents, so I wouldn't do that. But you use it for informational purposes only. But that's why. But you do need a real estate agent.
100%, I believe in that. A couple things, and I can just tell you from my own experience. I had, when I sold my home here in Illinois, I did have a realtor come in, and they hadn't seen my home, and they just walked in with they had their value, and this is what I was going to list for.
Right.
And with my background, and they did know my background, but with my background, I had done plenty of research. I knew where I should be. I knew what my home had versus what the other homes had and things like that. And they came in with the value, and I just said, do you think you want to look around first and see like what my house is before you tell me what the value is?
Right.
And so they did do that. And then I said, now do you want to rethink your value? And they said, yeah, let us go back. But the thing is that it's important to have a realtor, because if you just rely on comps, if you just look at Zillow or Redfin or any of those sites, they're pulling up what they know. They don't always know all of the information about your property. Mm-hmm. And I can also give you another example. In Florida, my home, I was the original owner, and I had owned it for 20 years. So there was never any resale. So had I gone online and looked at, and they were all the same, they were all very similar, I would have lost $80,000 to $100,000 if I would have just listed what those websites told me my house was worth. I would have lost. It was between $80,000 and $100,000. So it's very important to have a professional, somebody that knows.
Even better, someone that has the wide ranges of experience that you have.
And it helps, because it helps on both sides, on the buy and the sell side, and can help you position your home properly to sell. There's another home that I had owned, and if I looked at Zillow and all of those, it said it was worth about $30,000 more than I believe it's really worth, because it was including some comps that, as a realtor, I would not have included. And so the problem is that home would have sat there forever, and so you just really need someone to be by your side, also somebody to advocate for you. The NAR lawsuit that everybody is talking about. So there's still a lot of conversation, and things are not 100% settled yet. But what they're looking at is more of having a buyer's agent, and that the buyer may be paying the commission instead of the seller paying. Normally what had happened is, if it was whatever the commission was set at, that listing agent then pays the selling agent. And so part of the lawsuit, there were some different issues that they said had happened. So now they're thinking, well, what we'll do is we'll make buyer's agents now and make the buyers pay their own commission, which is not going to be a perfect system, because there are certain loans that the buyer cannot pay a commission. So something's got to give there.
Right.
So, but you always want to have somebody on your side. And I said, even if the buyer ends up having to pay a commission, one way or the other, I wouldn't go into, if I was suing a car dealer, I wouldn't go in there without an attorney. They're going to have an attorney.
Yeah.
I would want to make sure that I'm represented as well. And it's kind of like that. You don't know what you're paying for. Again, use one of the websites.
But the listing agent is still allowed to pay can still pay the commission for the buyer's agent. And they just can't advertise it on the
They can't
MLS.
Advertise it. And what you can do also is write in your contract, request it. Here's my offer, but from that you need to pay my agent.
Right.
And so there are still things that can be done, but a lot of people are afraid that buyers are going to go out there unrepresented. And I do think if people decide to do that they may pay for it in the long run, because I think that you need somebody, again, to give you some good comps.
And that brings us
advice.
another question. That's, why is it a good idea? What's important about having a good attorney in the transaction with you? So
as far as I'm concerned, it's an entire team. And I kind of think of it like, if you were playing baseball, you have a team of 9 people, but if your pitcher's bad, your shortstop's bad, you're probably not going to win a lot of games. So, And so for me, I feel like I want to have good relationships with, on the selling side, my attorney, my title company. I've watched obviously with all my experience, I've watched deals go sour that should have never gone sour. I've watched attorneys blow up deals because they feel like, well, I've got to somehow show that I'm worth this money. Like sometimes homes really just are in good condition, and we don't need to pick apart a home inspection and try and nickel and dime somebody. Like you want somebody that's going to
honest to goodness real estate attorney.
Yes, somebody that's going to go ahead and advocate for you when necessary. But if a light switch is bad on a 30-year-old home, like, do we really want to blow up a deal over a $15 light switch that somebody can? And so it goes to that. It goes to our lenders on the buy side. We want to have a good lender, somebody that we know when they give us a good pre-qual is good, and that we can call them and say, hey, they're looking at this house. Can you run it again? These taxes are a little higher than I told you, or the this has got an HOA. You want to have those good relationships, and then at the closing, because my brother is one of the best closers.
Right.
I wonder why. But anyway,
he learned from the best, right?
He did. But no, but I adore him. But anyway, but the thing is too, you can see closers blow up deals not being efficient or not getting things to the lender on time or not even understanding what should happen. He was actually trained. I always insisted everybody do things on paper, so he actually understands the numbers on the closing statement.
It's important to have a good team. He's it's an essential member of the team.
Yes.
And he works for Citywide Title.
He does. You guys are so lucky. But that is it. I mean, we all work together, and so nobody should be. It shouldn't be the tension. It should be, how can we resolve this? Things come up in real estate.
Right.
How can we resolve this?
Right. So when's the best time to buy or sell?
I feel like the best time to buy or sell is when you need to buy or sell.
Right.
I think that too many people try to time things in the market. And let's be honest, right now, if you have a savings account, you're getting maybe 5% interest on it. You may be paying 7% on your mortgage, but you're getting 5% on your savings. So it's all relative. When the interest rates go down, we get nothing on our accounts. So I think people worry too much about the number. One thing that I have heard is you marry the house, you date the interest rate. To an extent, I agree with that. There are things that could stop you from qualifying, obviously, at a certain time. So I think you have to get your interest rate, be happy with that, but know that, maybe I can refinance if they drop, but I have to be happy at this level right now, not knowing what the future holds.
Right.
But it's just, it's impossible to time things perfectly.
Right.
So it's always...
where you are at in your life.
Yes, exactly.
Base it on that.
Exactly.
Not the fact that where house prices are or whatever. Happens to be a nice time to sell right now. But,
it is.
It really does have to do where you're at in your life.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And there's always buyers out there. I've heard people say to me, because our market is a little bit tight right now, because there's not a lot of homes on the market. It's
right.
Summertime, obviously it's opened up a little bit, and people are like, well, it's because buyers don't want to move with their interest rates, and so they don't want to go buy something. Well, if you're selling, somebody still has to buy it. So there still are buyers out there buying. So
right,
it's always a good time, never a bad time to buy or sell.
So, and here's a good question. What's the advantage of ownership over renting?
Well, and I think a lot of it depends on who you are, but I feel like, home ownership, you get to do anything you want to your house. It's yours. You don't have to worry about asking permission for any of the, can I do this? Can I hang something on the wall? Whatever. So that's nice. There could be tax advantages depending on, your financial situation. So there could be tax advantages. You can traditionally, outside of, because then people always, I don't know if you remember when the housing market fell in 2008, and then everybody was like, see, they always say real estate is the, it's burned in all of our heads. But people are like, see, everybody says real estate's secure and it's a great investment, and that just proves it's not. Well, that was like the craziest time in history. So overall, your home is going to inflate, or at least stay stable. But it is a place where a lot of people gain equity, and that is their savings. A lot of people, when they retire, they will then take all that equity and then downsize into something else. So it's it's been like their savings account that they didn't actually have to throw cash directly into. Obviously, you put money into your home.
Right.
So, but yeah.
Well, and when you're renting, you're making somebody else money.
Yes.
You're not making yourself any money.
100%.
So much better to own than it is to rent, in my 100%, opinion.
Yep.
So what's the wait a second. Some specific financial items to consider when comparing homes, and people are out there comparing homes, and they're trying to, what are the different items that they need to consider?
So financially, a lot of times people are just say, I need to buy a house at $300,000 or this is my price point or whatever. But you want to consider also, is there a homeowners association involved with this particular community or home? If there's a townhome or condo, 100% you're going to have an HOA. Sometimes single families have an HOA, and they can vary anywhere from like $120 a year, and this is just maybe for them to take care of some exterior sign that says welcome to our neighborhood. And it can go all the way up to a lot of homes that I'm seeing now out in the western suburbs. They're actually now doing, you own your home as a single family home, you own the land, but they're doing your snow removal and mowing your grass. You can still put in trees, bushes, etc., but they're doing all of that. Well, in those homes, the HOAs, then the fees are running about $250 to $300. So that's very important to know, again, if you're tight on qualifying, and again, do you want to pay that? Would you rather pay for your own and do it yourself and not pay it, or hire somebody else to do it? So that's important. Your taxes. Pay attention to the taxes. If somebody has a homeowner's exemption and you're buying it for non-owner occupied, a rental or something, you're going to have an increase in your taxes, so pay attention to that. Sometimes there's a senior exemption or something like that, so if you are under 65 and you are looking at taxes, those taxes might not be the same when you buy it, because if you can't get the senior exemption, you're not going to have the same tax base. So paying attention to the taxes is very important. Sometimes there's an SSA, so if it's a new construction area, a lot of times what the builders did, instead of building more money into the purchase price, they lowered the price, but then they got a bond.
Right.
And so in addition to your taxes, you would have an additional sum of money due each year, which is your SSA. So you just want to pay attention to all those things. And these days, too, check about the insurance. If you're in a flood zone, you would have flood insurance. So there's all these other little factors that, if you're just looking at a house, if you look at this house for $300,000 and that house for $300,000, it doesn't mean you're apples and apples. So you really just need to look at all the financial factors as well.
Is it the same? And another question that kind of is with that is it like that at Del Webb? What do I have to consider? Do I consider the same things when I'm moving into Del Webb or Carillon or
in
one
the
of these
retirement
communities?
They all do have HOAs because they all do have a lot of amenities.
So it's a club type of a thing?
It
or,
is.
But you still buy the house like you normally would.
You buy the house at single family, or you can do single family or townhomes in both of those areas. And they will do all of the snow removal and the lawn maintenance for you. And then in addition, though, they both have clubhouses, they have pools, they both have indoor pools, outdoor pools.
Golf course, all that stuff?
Yeah, golf course. Well, Whisper Creek actually is not, it used to be owned by the homeowners, and then they sold that off. But there is the golf course that's right there in Del Webb. They also have Jameson's is in there, so a lot of people are familiar with Jameson's from other...
shopping? Do they have that in there?
They don't have any shopping, but they all have...
Unlike villages, where it's a whole town.
That's 3 counties. 3 counties, 160,000 people. So that's like, the villages can't really be compared to anything on the planet.
Right, exactly. No, but I mean, so when you get out, people move from here to there and work with a real estate agent that's down in Florida and vice versa.
Absolutely.
So that's something that you're interested in as well.
Absolutely. Yep.
Right.
So, but yeah, those areas, they have clubhouses and social programs and all of that. So
and then that brings us to another question that I have. What areas do you cover?
So I have lived in and working when I had my company and everything and was in sales. I mean, I've been all the way to the border and all the way down to Plainfield and Joliet. So my comfort area as far as where I go is pretty much anything north of I-88, and then anything kind of west of like the Oak Brook area, like that, and west. So, but I'll go all the way north. I'm very familiar with the areas up north. So I went to Stevenson High School up in Lincolnshire. So I've been around all of these areas, and so I love anywhere north, northwest, or west. Those are kind of my
and if we haven't answered that, it seems to me like you like to be in the real estate business. But
I can't get out. I clearly can't get out.
Why did you choose to get your real estate license?
I got my license because
honestly, why didn't you just come back in the title?
Well,
because No,
is way
stay
more
out
fun
of
on this
title.
side.
We don't want you
Yeah.
in title.
This is way more fun on this
We want
side.
you to be a good real estate agent. So why did you get into being why'd you get your license?
I have such a passion for it, and I have helped my kids look for homes, just obviously not as a realtor, but as a mom and a human,
Right.
and helped them find homes and help them think outside the box. I had my daughter that I had referenced. She was looking at single-family homes, and they were all, in her price point, they were all older, needed a lot of repairs, and I was able to find her this cute duplex that was like 3 or 4 years old, looked like a model, and she didn't really want to be attached to somebody. But I said, well, just go look at it, and see what you think. And she fell in love with it. She still lives there. So I think sometimes having a realtor think outside the box, and I love people, and I love to get to know people and hear their stories, and we all have different needs. So a lady I met with yesterday, she's older, and she's thinking about selling her home and moving by her family. And then I have a 35-year-old man
Right.
relocating here that is looking
Right.
for his first home.
Right. And just so finding homes can be somewhat daunting.
It can.
And not every single home is on the internet, and it's not on the MLS or what have you, correct?
That's correct.
So having a real estate agent, a good real estate agent that has some history on it, you have insider information that you don't
Yes.
get on the internet.
And knowledge about the areas, and again, thinking outside the box, because sometimes this is what we think we want, but in reality, it's hard to find a perfect home. And that's what I keep telling people, my buyers that I'm working with, is it's hard unless you have unlimited funds. And even
Right.
then, you still might not be able. I'd love to have $1 million home on a lake.
Same here.
But I want to be like 5 minutes from a Starbucks. I don't want to be out in the.
Right.
So I mean, it's just hard.
It can be difficult to find the
Yeah.
more affordable homes nowadays as well. So you need to have a good real estate agent, just because there are properties that aren't on, that are not accessible, that you may know about, that are more
Yes.
affordable.
And it's about listening and figuring out, this is what you want, and let's try to get you as close to what you want, but let's think about maybe some other, thinking outside the box is a lot of times what I have to do. So, and I just enjoy that. It makes me feel good when people are, for most people, it's most money you're going to spend in your life. People are very nervous. That's another reason that I wanted to be a realtor, is because, I know sitting at the closing table and watching people, and back in the day when I had my title company, we used to still get checks from the lender. And so I was carrying around $3-4 million worth of checks to deposit at the bank.
Right.
My husband's
I was
like,
too.
you have that much money in your car?
I remember that too.
Yeah. I mean,
When Jim would give me the checks to go to the bank to deposit, he'd give me the deposit
Yep.
slip, go to the bank. I'm like, what? I just go up to the teller with this?
and it's a lot of money.
There's $3 million in checks here. Yeah, I just go to the teller.
But I think because we were involved in it so much, for us, my husband thought that was like crazy that I had that much money. I mean, it wasn't cash or anything, but that much
Right.
money in my car. But to us, we're kind of numb to it because we're exposed to that all the time. It's like it's just numbers.
Right.
But I want to humanize that. I always felt like when I was sitting there at a closing table and somebody's crying because their $100,000 deal is blowing up, I feel for you, because whether it's $100,000 you can spend or $1 million, I mean, for most of us, it is the biggest.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's the biggest investment that we have.
It's a big deal.
So, and I think the personal touch and the emotion, and my seller yesterday got kind of teary-eyed and stuff because thinking about selling her home, but
Yeah.
you hug it out and you say, it's okay, and I'll be here to hold your hand and we'll get you through it. And
Right.
that's kind of, so that's what I like, is the human touch to it, and being a realtor, I'm able to do more than one-on-one instead of come in, close,
Right.
it's been nice to meet you and good luck with your new home.
Right.
So I just
and
like
starting a relationship with them and kind of holding their
Yes.
hand, because it can be difficult to decide to pull the trigger.
And there's
when
so
you're
many
gonna
things
do
that
it.
go into it, and that goes to the
Right.
team then. I want to have a team that I can say, she's soft, so be kind,
Right.
let's be good to her and that kind of thing, and let's work her through it. We may have to hold her hand a little bit more, or and so that's why it's important to have a good team behind you too.
And so the last question, fun fact.
Fun fact. So
The
my fun fact I wanted to share.
Which state in the U.S. is the most normal? If there's
Crazy,
there's
it's
normal and
Illinois.
abnormal states. I had no idea
It's-
when we talked about this earlier. Okay,
It's
shoot.
just funny.
Where did we get this information? So what is
I
it?
read this online. It was just fun. It just said, they said there were 30 socioeconomic factors that they took in: race, jobs, employment, income, churches, like all of and they took 30 things in, and they decided that we were the most average across the country. So we kind of fit into the average across the country. So
Here in Illinois.
here in Illinois.
See,
Who
we're
knew?
normal.
A little
here.
Midwest.
Well, thanks for being here.
Yes, thanks for asking.
Yes, and for you guys watching, you can get the information off of off of the QR code. I believe that we'll have a QR code with her information. Just click on that and get a hold of Debbie, and she can help.
Yep, I'd love to help.
That's it.